A lot of the people I talk to go through so much angst about niching, however you want to
Yeah.
say
I know. I think I may have already said it 3 different ways. I never know. I never know. This is a free space. We do not judge niche or niche here. Welcome to Badass Softy, a podcast for leaders who are unapologetically ambitious and want to lead with heart because you're allowed to chase big goals without losing what makes you human. I'm your host, Dr. JJ Peterson, and today we are kicking off our interviews for our marketing mini-series with my friend, Kris Jones. Kris is a fellow Oregonian, which I love, and we have great conversations all the time about food in Portland and all the places. But more importantly, Kris is the founder of Red Door Stories. She's a StoryBrand certified guide and the co-author of an upcoming book with Donald Miller called StoryBrand Your Coaching Business. And she has such an incredible resume. For the last 2 decades, she's worked with companies like Nike and Adidas. But now what she does is help thousands of coaches, consultants, and advisors clarify their message so they can attract the right clients without constantly reinventing their marketing. And Kris is brilliant, and she's brilliant at helping people find a unique story to tell in their marketing, which is so important because I think so many people don't think they have a unique story. Often people try to market themselves by saying everything to everyone and sounding like everybody else, and they're afraid to actually niche down, afraid to own their own perspective. But Kris makes the argument that clarity is what creates connection, that when you finally own your story and tell it clearly, you stop attracting random attention and start attracting the right people, the people who resonate with your values, your perspective, the way you solve problems. This conversation is more than just about marketing. It really is about having the courage to stop blending in and start communicating with intention. I am so excited about this conversation for you to learn from my friend, Kris Jones. Kris, I am so excited to have you on the podcast. You've worked for huge companies like Nike and Adidas, and you have then kind of through the process of developing kind of your career in marketing, really decided and owned the fact that you're wanting to niche down to a very specific area. And like, even though you've had this like huge success in all of these other areas, you've gone, no, this is who I want to be and this is where I want to work. And that was so inspiring for me. And then in that, as you've continued to develop and grow your own business, I have learned so much from you at different conferences and workshops. And I consider you somebody who I really look to in the marketing space that inspires me on clarity and on story. And so I wanted to have you on this podcast because A, you're just incredible at what you do, but B, you also know who you are and who you serve in a way that I think is really, really powerful and inspiring for a lot of people. And I really believe that you truly are a badass softie. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you. That is a huge compliment, JJ. The feeling is mutual, and I am proud to be a badass softie.
You are. And, I didn't even mention the fact that, we're both Oregon people. And so we were just, even before you got on, talking about, clam chowder at the coast and the fun things we're going to do when we hang out together in Oregon. But we'll get into that whole thing later. And so, we're in a marketing series right now, and we're talking about how to create great marketing, reach your right audience, connect with your right people. And I'm just curious for you in this process of, like I mentioned, you like I said, you've worked with brands like Nike and Adidas and kind of what would be considered kind of the top echelon of marketing and branding in the world. And you have decided, hey, I'm not going to live in that space anymore. I'm going to focus on helping coaches in particular really clarify their message, people who help people directly. What made you pivot, or not even pivot, because you've always kind of done this, but what made you kind of niche down and focus in this area?
Well, I feel like, number one, coaches and consultants and advisors, anybody who works with clients, they're the ones boots on the ground helping people one by one and really making the world a better place. Like the work that they're doing is truly their purpose. And I love to work with people who are living on purpose. And it's such a joy and honor for me to help those people who are inside the bottle when they're trying to write for themselves. They're inside the bottle trying to read the label that can only be read from the outside. They're too close to their own brilliance to actually articulate it clearly and effectively. And so what I have found is that for me, it fills my cup. It's a delight to come in, read the label of your bottle, simplify your life, simplify your business, and really, I just found I could be so effective at moving the needle for these people, this audience. Not only that, I could personally relate to them because I am my own personal brand. And so I know what can happen when I change my website literally overnight, what can happen, or when I show up at a networking event and have the words to talk about what I do. I watch how people respond in real time and how, like when I integrated StoryBrand into every area of my business, it was literally overnight, and I am not joking, where people were getting on trains and coming to Portland to talk with me and want to work with me. And that's what happens when you get clear. And so I just found the work that I did with Nike and Adidas, and Jeff Bezos was actually a client of mine at one time. And so I don't say that to brag, but I just say that to say, do these people really need me to survive? I don't think so. I like to be able to witness results from the work that I do. And I found just myself gravitating to these people because they can reap the biggest benefit from the work.
Yeah. And you found, not to say be like, oh, you left like Nike and Jeff Bezos and then you did this little thing. I mean, you've helped thousands of coaches. So this is not like where you're like, oh, I just do this little tiny little thing where I talk to one or two people at a time. You've helped thousands of coaches. You've helped a lot of people clarify. But I think one of the reasons why I wanted to just bring that up in the beginning is because a lot of people on here, one of the things about Badass Softy is telling people, hey, you get to build the life you want. You get to work the way you want to work. You don't have to look at everybody else's success and say, oh, I need to achieve in this way, right? I need to reach the echelon of working with these high-end brands to be successful. You've said, I am going to niche down and I'm going to focus on the area and people I want to help, and have found also incredible success in that. And I think a lot of people, are afraid to niche down because they're like, well, if I'm a business coach, say you're a business coach, you just kind of go, I help everybody in business. I want to keep the net really wide. And I think a lot of times when you can say, no, these are the people I want to serve, and this is the audience I'm going to reach, and really clarify that story and make it more specific and not be afraid to say who you want to work with, that in many ways you can actually find even greater success because your story is a bit more clear.
For sure. And it will resonate immediately with the right people, and you'll notice you'll get a lot of results. A lot of the people I talk to go through so much angst about niching, however you want to say it.
I think I may have already said it 3 different ways. I never know. I never know. This is a free space. We are we do not judge niche or niche here.
We are in the tree of trust. We are, yes. So I would say almost everybody that I get on a call with has been navigating a lot of angst around niching. And typically it kind of comes down to they've niched enough, but there's kind of 2 different audiences. And what I usually have found is that if you're able to niche down even to kind of two types of people, we can figure out a way to craft your story to embrace both of those people. Because if you envision like the Venn diagram of those two audiences, they do often overlap. And where they overlap, we can really hone in on the story in that way.
And so when you say narrow it down to like two people, is there kind of a way that you narrow that down?
Well, I encourage people to choose one type of person that they want to reach. But if they just simply can't, like if they just simply can't do it, there is often a way to be able to reach both people. It's not, they're usually similar types of people, but they're a little bit different. Like I work with educators, but also administration, right? So teachers and administration, for example, like they're two different audiences. They do kind of want different things, but there's often an overlap of the things that they want that we can kind of follow the golden thread of that story. So I just want to share that because everybody I talk to thinks that they're an anomaly because they have these kind of two different types of people they want to talk to. But the reality is when we kind of look under the hood of your story, everything comes through you. So there is a cohesiveness and there is a way to speak to both of those audiences.
Yeah. And people, come to me all the time and they're like, my audiences are so different. And I usually go, oh man, that must be hard. And I know inside they're not as different because like you said, they're so close to it that they see like these people as two way different things. But when you're talking, say, teachers and administrators, the way you serve them in the unique voice that you bring to both of those spaces is actually way more similar than you think. Now, if what you're trying to bring to those two audiences is I'm going to like cater lunches for administrative events and I'm going to help teachers with math curriculum. Now that's where it's like, okay, the way that you show up is very different. Now there is a very confusing message there.
Right.
But if you show up in many the same way with the same product or a version of that product to both audiences, it's not as complicated as you think. And, I was just working with some clients yesterday. It's funny that you mentioned this, who are in the education space. And they specifically, their three audiences are teachers, administrators, people who have the ability to spend the money are actually their main audience. And then also, instructional coaches. So people who actually help and kind of like work with teachers. We got down to it of where really the money and who their actual audience is the administrators and the people who have the budget line for this item. And also all three could fit in a singular story, essentially. Even though they do serve them different ways, they want three different things. The reality is they're not offering different products to all three. They're offering the same product. And so I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of is they're like, well, when you tell me to niche down, it means I need to choose teachers or administrators. And it's like, we're not talking about that. What we're telling you is if you're a caterer and you sell software, maybe then you need to niche down in your messaging.
Right. And you're a plumber and a pie maker. Yeah. Definitely niche. Yeah.
But when you find that audience, and I think it's so, even the people I work with, like if the people who you're working with are in a very crowded marketplace, right? There's a lot of coaches. There's also a lot of people have a lot of opinion about what a coach is and what they do. Some of it's positive, some of it's negative, some of it's cliche. And so if I said I'm a business coach, that's actually very broad and nobody knows how to wrap their mind around what that actually means for me. Now, if you say more specifically, a business coach who helps women move from 6 figures to 7, female founders move from 6 figures to 7 in their business. Now I am putting my stamp. I'm niching down in a way that every female founder who is moving from 6 figures to 7 knows that I'm their person. And until that audience gets until there's nobody left in that audience, I say, don't be afraid, right? I know you kind of take business owner or coaches through a very specific kind of way. And one of the things you talk about is basically narrowing it down to one story. You can actually dominate your marketing and do all of your marketing with one story. What do you mean by that, and how does that work?
So one story means that truly that you can tell one story in your entire business and never have to reinvent the wheel again, because your story is somewhat about you, but it's really about your client. If anyone's familiar with the story brand framework, you know that every story begins with a hero that has a problem they don't know how to solve. And so that's how we begin your story. And then it kind of moves through the framework. But what I love about story is that once you figure it out, it really works like the musical instrument, an accordion. When you have more real estate, like on your website, you've got more room, you can go deeper into the story. In a blog post, you can even go deeper into a story. And what I like to do for my clients is we craft that foundational story, and then we take that one story and we integrate it. I call it, we deploy it everywhere. We integrate it into every area of your business, every client touch point. And when I say it works like an accordion, so we can go longer with the story, but we can also go very short, like your one-liner or your elevator pitch. That's a 2-sentence version of your story, but it contains all 7 components of the story brand framework. So for my clients, I'll create, your elevator pitch one-liner. That's a very short version of the accordion. I'll write you a video script because videos are essential. If you have a video on your website or you use it in your marketing, you're going to get more clients. It's incredibly powerful. So the video script is about this long, the website's about this long, and we just make sure that every client touch point is beating the same drum over and over and over again. And when you begin to get sick of it is when it begins to really gain traction.
Yes. That's a point I always tell people. You are going to get sick of your message before your clients. And so you're going to be tempted to change things up and move things around, especially if you are a founder and an entrepreneur and somebody who is creative. You are going to be so sick of your message by the end of this that you're going to go, it's boring. I've repeated myself so many times. I want to be more creative in how I say it. And it's like, no, don't, please don't. And you're going to get sick of it. You are going to get sick of repeating the same thing over and over and over again. That is probably about when you're close to doing it as much as you should.
Yeah. And we look at our marketing, we read our website and our emails with a fine-tooth comb, right? We're really paying attention to it, and we're assuming that our potential clients are also doing that, but they're definitely not. If you send them 8 emails, they might, if you're lucky, read like 3 of them, maybe open 2 of them. And they're moving through your website so quickly that if you don't repeat flavor over and over and over again, it will get missed. And people need to read and hear things, I think it's 8 or 10 times, probably more now, in order to actually retain that information. So when they read it one time, it's not getting into their bones.
Exactly. And when we're talking about coaches in particular, or people who maybe are in an industry that even if you're a dentist or you're a chiropractor or something or a realtor, can you niche down in a way that actually says, this is who I serve? And so, what do you feel like when you sit down with somebody? What are some of the questions, like even for our listeners that are maybe in this space and they're like, yeah, the message I have right now is very broad. What are some of the questions or things that you ask your clients to help identify that unique story or that niche for them so that they can be more clear about who they're serving?
Yeah. Oh gosh, so many good nuggets in what you just shared. I love that you brought up realtors because they represent a type of industry that they serve buyers and sellers, and each of those audiences wants different things.
Yeah.
And many realtors have leaned into one or the other. You know, they're like, I want to list houses. That's all I want to do. But if you like doing both of those things, then you can niche into you serve newlyweds or you serve people that are moving into retirement and downsizing. So you can niche by the people that you serve, to your point. There's a lot of different angles that you can take it to niche in a way that feels good for you, that doesn't feel like you're letting go of something that you really love. Questions that I ask my clients are, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? What's the one problem that you love solving more than anything else? When you get on calls with potential clients, what are they complaining about to you? What words do they use? And then I ask, tell me a story about a client that you worked with in the last year that just lit you up, that like you watched this transformation happen. Is there another one like that? Is there another one like that? And then when we can kind of like identify a theme, it becomes kind of obvious.
And it's so, I love even just those two questions of what do you want to be known for and tell me a story about somebody who lit you up. And why I love those so much, because I think a lot of us don't give ourselves permission to say it's okay to want to build a business around that, right? Like, do I actually have permission to work with people I want to? Like, do I actually have permission to take up space and own an area? Like if I say, what do I want to be known for? Well, I want to be known for this. That feels a bit audacious. It feels a bit, maybe sometimes for a lot of people, arrogant. And to be able to give your clients and really anybody listening, give you permission to say, what do I want to be known for? And own that and be able to be like kind of with your chest out again, say it over and over and over again. This is what I want to be known for. And then to go, who's my ideal client? Who are the people that light me up the most? That I actually, and it's not just about lighting me up, but who actually can I do the best for? Who have I helped succeed? Because that's usually for coaches and everybody, what's lighting them up is when their clients succeed. So you go, you have permission to work with the type of people that you are good at working with and can help succeed. And you have permission to own and be known for something specific. And when people are given that permission, then they can speak in their voice, their full voice, and say, this is who I am. This is who I serve. And I think that is when people really can find their just like can start running when it comes to their marketing, right? And be able to say, this is who I serve. And then people start coming to them. When you refine your own voice in a way and own your own voice in a way that then connects with the people who need to hear it, that's where the magic happens.
It's huge. And I think I'll piggyback onto that. When you do that, you also gain more confidence to say no to the people you don't want to work with, which is as important, and it's so freeing. And I think as entrepreneurs, we often just don't want to turn down money, right? People coming to us, clients. And it's really an incredible feeling to have the kind of clarity to be able to tell somebody that you might have taken on before just because you thought you should, but you didn't really want to, like to be like, oh, actually, no, I serve these people, but send them along to somebody else. And then that's also when people begin to refer more people to you when they're clear about it.
Oh, I love that so much. That just makes me really excited. You're getting me all pumped up about all of this, because I think the people, anybody listening who has been in any kind of these spaces, giving them the permission to find that story and own that story in a way that connects with the right audience, I think it's just so powerful. And You have co-written a book about the process that you take people through that's coming out this fall with Donna Miller. So you and I share another thing in common of we are both co-authors with Donna Miller. And what's the name of that book that's coming out this fall?
It's called Story Brand Your Coaching Business, and it's for the subtitle is How to Get More Ideal Clients to Say Yes. And it's for coaches, of course, but it's also for consultants, advisors, anybody who wants more clients. This book is for you.
I love it. And if anybody's interested in reaching out to you for more help of just like finding that story and working down, where can they find you?
The best place to find me is at my website, which is reddoorstories.com. You can learn all about what it's like to work with me. You can book a call with me there if you click on the blue button. I also have a free resource called the 5 Story Brand Soundbites, how to get clients with actual soundbites. So there's lots of free stuff on there, and that's the best place to go.
Love it. Well, Kris, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for really helping so many people find their voice and get that voice out there so that they can help more people and genuinely like make the world a better place, boots on the ground, making a difference in all of it. And for, just being so inspirational and generous with everything that you offer, but kind of lighting a path a little bit for a lot of people and saying, hey, you should find a unique voice. I've done it. You can do it. So thank you for being here. And thank you so much for being a badass softie.
Thank you for having me.
Kris, I was so energized by that conversation. So thank you so much for sharing with all of us. And, the thing that really jumped out at me from that conversation was the idea of having the audacity to be able to say, what do I want to be known for? I know that in my own life, that's often something that feels like I shouldn't have the guts or the balls or whatever you want to say to just say, no, this is what I want. This is what I want to be known for. Because maybe, other people are doing that and other people sound like that. And it's like, no, I know that I have a unique perspective. I know that I have a unique experience. I know that I have a unique wisdom. And for me to be able to say, no, this is what I want to be known for feels often too audacious, but I want to be audacious. I want to be the kind of person that says, I know I can do this. And I know that when I show up as my fullest self with a clear story, I can help the right people in the right way. And so I hope for you that you, through this conversation, also can start thinking for yourself, what story do I want to be known for? And then asking yourself, do I have the audacity to go for it? Because I really do believe that when you do that, not only are you going to be better off, but the people who need your help are going to be better off as well. So before we go, let me leave you with this. May you have the courage to stop trying to be everything to everyone. May you give yourself permission to say, this is what I want to be known for. This is who I want to help. May you stop hiding the very story that could create connection. And may you build something clear enough that the people meant for you can finally find you. And if you've been afraid to niche down because it feels risky, may you remember that every meaningful moment begins when someone is audacious enough to stand for something specific. Because we believe you can be both ambitious and kind, fun and driven, powerful and deeply human. Your leadership can inspire, your success can have soul, and your ambition can make space for everyone. That's why you're a badass softie. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Follow and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. BadassSoftie.com is crafted by Fruitful Design and Strategy.